the background here
But not like that.
don't really count, but that's all right.
All right. So, John Shimura, Chief Judge of the 37th District Court located in Warren, and the Polish Day Parade happens every year. It's real important. What are you doing at the Polish Cultural Center?
Well, tonight we're having a fundraiser, and the money goes to benefit the Polish Day Parade, and the guest of honor, if you want to call it that, is...
I'll step back so we can see him.
There we go. It should be easy to see him. Anyway, the guest of honor is Denny McLain, the former Detroit Tiger pitcher and hero of the 1968 season, 31-game winner, and we are roasting him tonight as a fundraiser for the Polish Day Parade.
You know, this parade happens every year in the Warren, Hamtramck areas, and even the surrounding, really everywhere in Detroit. This is the preeminent parade that showcases Polish culture.
That's right, it does. This is Michigan's largest ethnic parade, and that's exactly Polish culture, and really ethnic culture in the city of Hamtramck, because Hamtramck is kind of a cultural melting pot now. And lots of ethnic groups are represented there, including Polish Americans, and that's kind of what the parade does.
And Denny McLain, you mentioned that he is half Polish, I understand?
He's half Polish. I think 49% Polish. We're not going to quite give him that much credit, but 49% Polish, and that's why he's here.
And in having with Denny now, as far as are there other programs that you kind of like to fundraise for the year? Or is this exclusively go for the parade?
This is all for the parade. We have one fundraiser a year, usually in spring. And the money that we raise in the fundraiser, which is a roast of somebody in the Polish community, we roast the parade.
All right, John, thank you so much. Thanks. Don't arrest me. I'm illegally parked out front.
Couldn't do it anyway. You have to get the police to arrest you. But you might be in front of me, and then we'll handle that.
So before I bring on Eli, it is my privilege to officially welcome you tonight to the Dennis Dale McLain Sympathy for the Devil tour. Tonight we are going to not so much honor, but go through the charade of, first of all, acknowledging all the good things that Denny has done by making himself be available tonight and providing memorabilia for us, and for just sort of gracing us with his presence and acknowledging that, but also going through the charade of sort of pretending that he's really a good guy. And we all kind of know better. The best story that I can relate in connection with that is the Boy Scout troop, of which I am a member, and we were going to get some Boy Scouts here to... Why is this a problem?
Put it right in your tonsils.
I'm not, there's priests here. I got a couple of thoughts going through my head, but I'm not going to say it. I was going to get some Boy Scouts over here, and the problem that we ran into was that the Scoutmaster said, really? You want some Boy Scouts to show up at an event for Denny McLain? Are you out of your mind? So we had to get Sterling Orlowski instead. But tonight, what's going to happen is what sort of happens at a lot of cases that appear in front of me when I preside over them, and that is the defense attorney comes up and says, Your Honor, my client, Mr. McLain, has made a mistake, and he's never going to make this mistake again. And I'm going to tell you that this was an isolated incident. And you, Your Honor, will never see my client in front of me again. You will never see this client of mine in this court again. And so tonight, what we're going to do is go through that charade. We're going to go through that game, and we're going to have all these people that are going to testify as to all these wonderful things that Denny did. But we're all going to also know the real truth. We all know what Denny is, and it's going to be a great night, because what's going to happen is the truth is going to come out, and you're going to see tonight the real Denny McLain as told to you by people who are his friends, who are his colleagues, and know him better than any of us. And so, with that, I'm going to bring up the Master of Ceremonies. Oh, one other, I got to say this one last thing. There's a reason why I'm sitting at the far end.
Sit down?
No, never. I got the microphone. I'm never going to shut up. You're going to have to listen to this. This is hell for you. There's a reason why I'm at that far end. And the reason why I'm at that far end is because I'm a judge. And you get a judge close to Denny McLain, it's like putting a cross in front of Dracula. That's why I'm over there. So with that, I'm going to bring up our tonight's Master of Ceremonies, Eli Zaret. Eli.
everybody who's up here so long. Hey, thanks for joining us tonight. Have a drive home safely. I got to start by saying, do you people know what a roast is? Because this looks like you're here for an accordion concert, and that's not what is scheduled. Usually a roast is kind of a stag event with guys, and a lot of F-bombs are being dropped right and left. Here we got a lot of ladies at this place. Not that ladies don't know what bad language is, but I guess all these guys don't have the balls to leave the ladies at home, right? They got to come with them tonight to a roast. But anyway, we got a couple of priests here too, so are you ready for a roast, or you want us to kind of peel it back a little bit? Can I get a roast? Okay. Okay. Peel it back? Okay, off we go. Fair enough. It's great to see some priests here tonight. I didn't realize till recently that they have more sex than all married guys have at home. But, you know, I faced a lot of tough assignments in my 40-year media career, and roasting this fat fuck is not one of them. First F-bomb of the evening, it worked. Okay, guys, I think we're in the clear. We're in the clear. The door's open. Here we go. Welcome to a degenerate evening that will start like that with an insult and descend fully into the gutter as we go along. Great to raise money here for the Cultural Center. We got to kick around our old buddy Denny McLain. We want him to know that we have really taken the time, all of us tonight, to gather for one last time to remind you of what an asshole you were, you are, and always will be. So congratulations on that. And of all the people in the world you could have asked to be the Grand Marshal of the parade, that's almost a Polish joke, isn't it? But that's okay. We love you, big fella. You know, I saw on the flyer that Denny said he's 49.5% Polish. I gotta tell you, I've known him for a long time. I've been in events where he said he's 49.5% Jewish. I've been in events where he said he's 49.5% Croatian. And if we did one downtown, he'd say he's 49% black, but the lighting just kind of lightens him up a little bit. So we'll buy the Polish part, at least for tonight. He asked me to send in a picture for the brochure. He said, don't use a wide-angle lens on that big nose of yours. I said, well, maybe I should put a rubber band on it like you did your stomach, and maybe it'll shrink a little bit. But actually, I don't see the results of that. The band must have broken, but you're not quite back to your old weight. You know, he likes the abuse, let's face it. He wouldn't be here if he didn't like the abuse. And it's just the way it goes. And actually, so he'd have to be dragged here, although it is a little easier to drag you around now that you've lost a couple 100 pounds. So glad to have you here tonight so we can let you know what we really think of you. He asked, by the way, these are the only friends he has left. These are the only ones he hasn't screwed out of stuff in his life with bullshit deals like the paint company back in the day. Okay, you guys made no money back in the old days, and you blew whatever you had left over in the goddamn paint company. Wait a second, you guys didn't get burned on that, and frankly, I'm still down $40K from the peat packing deal, and that's not funny. That is not funny. Okay. At 74, it's really amazing Denny's alive through all the bad decisions, the bad prison food, the bad guys he screwed over that wanted to kill him, but figured with his lifestyle, they just let nature take care of it eventually. What an upset the old cockroach here tonight can't be destroyed. He's the Grand Marshal of the parade, which still blows our mind. Well documented that Denny's teammates really didn't like him that much. He flew his own plane to games rather than slum it with them. He called in bets from the clubhouse, which kind of reflected poorly on them. And he pitched the first game of a doubleheader. He'd take off, not bother to watch. And what's not to like about that, right? So you can tell how popular Denny is with the 35 guys he played with in '68. Kaline, Horton, Stanley, all mysteriously had something else to do tonight. So of all the great players he played with, he manages to lure Warden and Matchick. Now, Warden's a struggling comedian. He'd just stand up at the morgue to get an audience, just have somebody there. And Matchick would go anywhere. Watch his face now. He'd go anywhere in the promise that somebody might mention that walk-off homeree hit against the Orioles in July '68. There, I mentioned it. Look at him smile. So, here Denny is, ready to be judged by a jury of his peers. Now, the last 2 times you were judged by a jury of your peers, it didn't come out too well. However, we didn't bring any handcuffs tonight, so you can rest easy on that. So let's get started. First up is the mayor of Warren, whose sanity must be questioned for even allowing this sort of affair to take place. Then again, he's a friend of Denny's, which kind of explains a lot about the level of sanity in this room, both up here and out there, where you guys were so desperate to get out of the house, away from your wives, that you'd go just about anywhere, and some of you, I see, managed to escape. Congratulations. So let's welcome the mayor of Warren, Jim Fouts, first up.
Well, I don't know how I can top Eli Zaret, and I will tell you this, if I tried to top him, I'd be resigning as mayor tomorrow, so that won't happen. I want to start out by just acknowledging a few things. You have the lady that is the head of this organization, is it Bankowski, the president? When I heard that name, and I'm just going to get serious just for a few minutes because it's the Polish Century Club, I thought of Ron Bankowski, who in my opinion was Warren's best mayor in terms of really understanding the budget, also having a domineering, impressive look, and I see the First Lady Administrator of Warren under him, and that is Rose Katari. Rose, would you stand up? She was outstanding, and she represented the most outstanding mayor in Warren, Ron Bankowski, and obviously also Polish. Thank you, Rose. And you know, Ron always said to me, he said, my father always told me, never to apologize about being Polish and don't change your name. That was Ron Bankowski. I won't say any more other than a couple other things at the end. Well, to begin with, I'm very happy to be here for this absolutely outstanding dinner. I enjoyed everything. I'm allergic to any soup that has all kinds of spices and herbs, and so we had that soup for me. And then I love the romaine lettuce. And I don't know if Denny ordered that, but now romaine is banned, but we had romaine lettuce today, and I enjoyed that too. So we had a...
I didn't need it.
You didn't eat it? Okay, I did. So, all right. So at any rate, great meal tonight, kidding aside. Now, I want to also share one other thing with you. Today I had a couple of appointments, and I had an appointment with my eye doctor at 10:30 this morning, and I said to him, I said to his secretary, I said, I've got to get out early because I've got to give a speech kicking off a new building going up in St. John's Hospital, and I've got to go somewhere else. And I have to end up giving a roast for Denny McLain. And immediately, his secretary said, move him ahead. She said, I am a big fan of Denny McLain. She said, I remember all the things that he did and all the scrapes he got into. But she said, whether he was pitching baseball or whether he was just pitching something for a sales bit, it didn't matter what, she liked him. So this woman was all excited about that. And because of that, I got out of my eye doctor's appointment early, so I thank you for that, Denny, because she was a fan of yours. Now, what is there to know about Denny McLain? Well, to begin with, some people refer to him as Dennis the Menace McLain. And if you know Denny at all, you know that he is a quiet, reserved kind of guy who has little to say. Except when Denny starts talking, and I describe Denny when he starts any kind of conversation as Niagara Falls Denny, because it's nonstop, one-way monologue that never ends. Denny is the greatest storyteller that I've ever met, and I guess we got people that disagree with that. And most of his conversation when he's talking is about one subject, Denny McLain. Sometimes Denny will discuss his second favorite subject, which is baseball, and his career as a professional player. In '68, as we all know, he won 31 games for the Tigers, leading the team to its first pennant in 23 years. A little known baseball trivia about Denny is when Denny was facing Mickey Mantle. The judge is trying to call me out.
Why are you looking at me? Talk to the crowd.
All right. After winning his 31st game, the Tigers had clinched the American League pennant in '68. Denny motioned to Mickey Mantle, where Mickey wanted the next pitch, and Mickey pointed his bat to the sweet zone, and Denny grooved the pitch in the sweet zone, and Mickey clubbed a gigantic Mantle home run almost clearing the right field roof at Tiger Stadium. In an interview long after the gift pitch to Mantle, he recalled he winked at Denny as he rounded third base, and Denny winked back. The hitter following Mantle in the lineup was Joe Pepitone. He pointed to his sweet spot while standing at home plate, waiting for Denny to pitch, hoping to get another gift pitch. So what did Dennis the Menace do? He threw the fastest of his famous fastballs at Pepitone's head, sending him sprawling in the dirt for safety. That home run by Mantle was the one that made him fifth on the all-time home run list. Now, this big-hearted gesture by Denny for Mickey Mantle broke the rules of baseball, but Denny was a rule breaker by nature. He broke rules in the Denny's DNA. Once Denny dumped a pail of water over a sports reporter and joked about it. Rumor has it that Denny said the reporter needed a shower. Shortly after the shower incident, Denny was traded by the Tigers to the lowly Washington Senators, who earned this description: Washington Senators, first in war, first in peace, and last in the American League. Can anyone guess who the manager of the Senators was at the time of Denny's trade?
Ted Williams.
Ted Williams, who hated all pitchers while he was on his way to baseball's Hall of Fame as one of baseball's greatest hitters. And I know, Denny, when you spoke to me, you had some interesting stories about Ted Williams, which I won't tell. But Williams never was hesitant to give a good quote to reporters, and he bragged that Denny was going his way or the highway. Keep in mind that Denny seldom drove the highway because he was a pilot with his own private jet. In fact, Denny earned the nickname Sky King because he was flying all the time. Going back to Ted Williams, his nickname was Terrible Ted because of his verbal outburst. Imagine Terrible Ted managing Dennis the Menace. Sounds like a WWF wrestling match. I know that this was not a match made in heaven. Denny had a great baseball career. He three-time All-Star winner, member, World Series game member, American League Most Valuable Player, two-time Cy Young Award, two-time leader in pitching in 68 and 69. And I think, Denny, you told me the most you ever made with all of that was what? About $60,000, $70,000, correct? $60,000. Today they make millions. He also earned the Most Valuable Player Award, being the most loudmouth, I should say, he won the MLP award for being the most loudmouth player in baseball. Denny wrote an autobiography titled, I Told You I Wasn't Perfect. No kidding, Denny, you are not perfect. Who was the perfect was his wife, Sharon, and I have to say, Sharon was a saint, and Denny calls her a saint, and so right he is. But I have to question Sharon's judgment. She divorced Denny and then remarried him. But I guess that's when you have a wife for a saint. In the Detroit area, Denny was a radio personality after being a star baseball player, and he was called many names by many people for his outspokenness. I got to know Denny through Denny inviting me to be on his radio show. Was it WXYT or back then? And I would talk with him about different things. And I remember one day he referred to the council as a bump on a log or something, I don't know, but Denny had nice descriptions. The bottom line is Denny was never called dull or quiet. He was one of Detroit's most memorable personalities, and I am certain Denny will prefer that he will be remembered as a Major League Baseball player who is going to be the last player to win 30 or more games. Denny was also an accomplished organ player, and maybe he still is. Rumors have it that once he retired from baseball, he tried to get a job playing the organ at baseball games, but no one would hire him because he might play the wrong kind of music that would not be funny, like The Stripper. Wouldn't put this past Denny, he was so unpredictable. Did you know, for example, that the San Francisco Seals once recorded a song called The Ballad of Denny McLain? It should have been titled Big Bad Denny McLain. Denny is best described as unique, different, or controversial. And as a player after he retired or his post-retirement business interests, we could always count on Denny to dominate the headlines or newscasts. When he's in the news, I just comment to friends, that's just Denny being Denny. He doesn't know any other way. To know Denny is to like him and to keep him at a distance.
people still ask me all the time because they know we did a show together for many years. They say, what's McLain up to these days? You ever talk to him? I go, well, I know he signs his name at a lot of autograph shows, and he claims to be in the steel business. And they look at me, I go, yeah, that's steel, S-T-E-E. As you know, for many years he was in the other steel business that sent him to the slammer a couple of times. But when we wrote the book, we had a good time writing the book, and I think he fell, he kind of got out of the steel business, and he fell into with a bunch of low-life gamblers in Flint. It's really a great story. While playing the organ at a restaurant called the Shorthorn, they saw an easy mark. He was a young pitcher, I think about 22 years old maybe, and they convinced him to fund their bookie joint. And he said, okay, I'll be a bookie. Why not? Let's give that a try. And whereupon they started fleecing him. He never won a bet. He was the amazement. He's the first bookie in history to never win a bet. It also got him suspended from baseball in 1970 for never winning a bet. And on the brochure that was sent around for the event here, that a picture of Denny on the cover. It was from '68 called An Antic Pursuit of 30 Wins. That was the same picture that ran 2 years later with a different title called Denny and the Mob, Baseball's Big Scandal. Something that I believe he fully and totally denies to this day. Anyway, next up, I want to introduce one of the members of the... Oh, no, I'm going to introduce... pardon me, I take that back. He grew up in Hamtramck, home of the annual Polish Day Parade. One of 3 brothers who made it to the major leagues, but no doubt he was the best, an amazing athlete, really. Drafted in football by the Dolphins, played 17 years in the major leagues. Imagine that, for 6 teams, batted a fine .282, went on to broadcast the game for many years. And of course, you wonder why such a terrific player be willing to grovel around in the mud with Denny McLain. But then again, that's what we're doing here tonight. So let's have a warm welcome for Tom Paciorek. Tom Wimpy Paciorek.
I'll bust your ass if you play that thing on me. I was a little nervous about coming up here and speaking tonight, but thank God I got to follow you, Mayor. When they asked you to come up here and speak tonight, why didn't you tell them to go fuck themselves? I mean, Mayor, you gotta be a hell of a mayor. Because you're about as funny as a root canal. Damn. John Warden's looking good. That's quite an outfit, isn't it? At least now we know what happened to Liberace's wardrobe. Looks like it looks like a maitre d' at a gay bar. That's a shirt. Oh, Eli. You know, a lot of people don't know this, but Eli Zaret started off in show business 40 years ago as part of a ventriloquist act. But he had to retire when he got too big for the guy's lap. I can't see a damn thing. It's a Stevie Wonder memorial, isn't it? Before we talk about Denny, I'm going to tell you about something about my illustrious career. I started off in the Dodger organization, and I got exposed to one of the 2 greatest announcers of all time, the great Vin Scully. Now, we all know, growing up in Detroit, the greatest announcer was the great and late Ernie Harwell. And I'm sure he's looking down on this event and saying, why the hell are you talking about Denny McLain? But Ernie was the greatest, but I got to know Vinny very well too. And in 1973, my rookie year, I was the last guy on the Dodger roster. And in that time, there was very few televised games. So on the radio, all the games were on radio, and there was about 40,000 radios in Dodger Stadium. You could hear everything on the field and everywhere on the ballpark because they all wanted to listen to Vinny's dulcet tones. So I'm in the on-deck circle one night, and I hear Vinny talking about me, and I say, gee, I think I'll listen in. Well, there's 2 out, nobody on, here in the bottom of the 8th inning, no chance for the Dodgers to score. So manager Alston will use Paciorek hit and save Moda for the 9th. Look up there. Paciorek is making an obscene gesture to someone in the crowd. I wonder who that could be. He should be paying more attention to that 140 batting average he has as he stands at home plate. And the next thing you hear is, here's the pitch to Paciorek, and I'll be back with the top of the 9th, right after these words from Farmer John, Bologna, and Polska Kielbasa. True story. This is a true story. I ran into Vinny last year at Dodger Stadium, and he's looked at me and says, Tom Paciorek, Wimpy, it's so good to see you. You know, I remember the first time I interviewed you back in 1973. You got a game-winning RBI against the Chicago Cubs, and I asked you, is this the most important moment of your baseball life? And you said, no, it's when you scored the winning run in the 1961 Pony League World Series for Hamtramck, Michigan. Really proud of that moment. I'll tell you that over the years have not been kind to me. My new motto in life is 70 is the new 90. But I do have 8 grandchildren, and 3 of them are half Polish and half Italian. And I think that's great, but I'm afraid somebody's going to make them an offer they can't understand. I talked to Butchie, my little grandson Butchie, he's 6 years old. I asked him to say something in Italian. He said, all right, get in the trunk. Where the hell am I? You know, the first time I met Denny McLain, he was signing all these books and bats and autographs on everything you could possibly think. You know, he's got his name on everything except the high school diploma. Then he had a little trouble in high school. He came home with his report card, showed it to his old man. He had 4 F's and a D. His dad told me he's been concentrating too much on one subject. People don't know this, but it was touch and go there for a while. Denny even showing up for this event because they said that he was attached to a machine that was keeping him alive, his refrigerator. Then he went on a diet. His goal was to lose 50 pounds, and that's like throwing a deck chair off the Titanic. He got his shoe shined the other day, and he had to take the guy's word for it. He went into a department store, and he said to the salesman, I'd like to see a swimsuit in my size, and the salesman said, so would I. And this is true. His wife had to hire a rodeo clown to distract him so she could bring in the groceries. His friends, whatever left of him, took him on an elephant hunt so he could pick on somebody his own size. And wouldn't you know it, he got a hernia carrying the decoy. You know, a lot of people think that Denny has a personality difficulty. Well, I don't know about that. And he sought some help for it. So he went to a psychiatrist and he told him, Doc, you got to help me. I can't get along with anyone, you fat son of a bitch. People wondered why Denny got kicked out of his local country club. They asked him why, and he said religious persecution. They refused to recognize him as God. I thought that was pretty funny. Every time he has sex, he screams out his own name. But he's a very sensitive guy. He's a very sensitive guy because every time he has sex, he cries, and that's exactly what mace will do to you. Denny, remember one thing, everybody doesn't hate you, everybody hasn't met you yet. Somebody once asked Denny what he and his wife had mutual orgasm. He says, oh, we've got State Farm. And he was thinking, believe it or not, a lot of politicians here, he was thinking about going into politics until the reporter asked him a question. Denny, what do you think of ignorance and apathy in the world? He said, I don't know, and I don't care. But I will say this, it is a great honor to be here today. You know, Denny, you really were one of my favorite players. That's hard to believe, I know about this. But
Thank God.
the 1968 Detroit Tigers are one of the greatest teams ever. They solved a lot of problems in Detroit, and the reason for that was this man right here in the huge green shirt. So Denny, God bless you. God bless everybody here, and thanks for having me.
They did a special on HBO.
We got to fix that
And
mic.
Brian Gumbel was the commentator, so he had Gates Brown. He said, Gator, tell me what Denny McLain's like. He said, well, you know, Brian, when you shake hands with Denny, when you pull back, you count your fingers. And Brian Gumbel about died. He's like, hey, we'll be right back after the commercial.
Arthur, turn your back to him, make sure you check, see if your wallet's in your
Here's my
back
wallet.
pants.
I always carry my wallet in the front pocket.
But that's Danny. We understood that. We didn't really care. He went out there and gave us 120% every time he took that mound. And you don't win 31 games by not being a hell of a pitcher. Thanks, fellas.
Yeah, man, my pleasure. See you later.
You got it.
Thank you, Tom. Well, Denny and I started doing this show. He came back from Florida. Is that where you were in jail? Was it Florida? He came back anyway. He came back to the town in '88 or '86. Started doing a show on WXYT. Was actually had an amazing show. Went head to head with J.P. McCarthy. It was very, very impressive. Had some great ratings. Great second career. And so the general manager at Channel 2's name was Steve Antonetti, and he said, "Look, would you consider doing a TV show with Denny McLain?" I said, "Yeah, why not? I mean, he's great on the air, and I think it'd be interesting." And he said to me, his name was Steve Antonetti, he said, "You'll either do amazing TV or you'll kill each other, I'm not sure. But since we're a TV station, if that happens, it's a pretty good story, and we got the people to cover it here." So we used to engage in some very high-minded dialogue. He'd say, "Listen, you big-nosed asshole." And I'd say, "What, you pathetic jerk?" And I got to tell you, these skills gave us, this dialogue gave us the highest rated TV show in Detroit back in the day. So we're very proud of that. Once we went on a trip to Winnipeg once, amazingly, because Channel 2 was broadcast on a satellite all over North America. So they invite us to Winnipeg. And so we get off the plane and we go there, and the guy who introduced us says, "You know," he's looking at Denny, who's 375, and me, who's 175, and he goes, "You know, the sportscaster looks like the player, and the player looks like the sportscaster." But it didn't quite work out that way. Anyway, he loved drinking Diet Coke. It was the stuff we talked about in his book. He drank Pepsi, just Pepsi, Pepsi, Pepsi. Then he switched to Diet Coke. He would take two on the road. We'd have a 5-minute ride. He'd take 2 Diet Cokes on the road to get us there. So he's not in the Hall of Fame, but I guarantee his bladder is first ballot. So here we go. I want to introduce our next speaker. He played 15 years as a pro, 6 years in the majors, played 80 games for the Tigers in '68. As a rookie, he was described as a flashy fielder, which is baseballese for he can't hit. He did have a total of 4 homers, and 25% of which came on a hot July night in 1968 before a full house at Tiger Stadium. Bottom of the 8th, Orioles up 4-3 with 2 out and 1 on. They did a dramatic 2-run walk-off homer. In researching this homer tonight, I read an account where it was described, Matchick, a career .215 hitter with little power, whipped his bat around from the left side of the plate. Miraculously, the ball sliced through the humid air and smashed into the overhang in right field, giving the Tigers a stunning 5-4 victory. However, when we wrote the book, here's how Denny described that exact same home run. He goes, "Weaver brought on ace reliever Mo Drabowski, who got free-handed bounce into the second out, scoring Northrop, leaving us with 2 out and 1 on. Mayo decided to let 25-year-old rookie shortstop Tom Matchick stay in the game to hit against Drabowski. We may have had the worst hitting trio with shortstop in baseball history. Dick Tracewski, Ray Euler and Matchick split 650 at-bats in 68. Euler hit a microscopic 135. Trahusky a pathetic 156, and Matchick 203. He says, he goes on to write, there was no way any of them should have been allowed to hit with the game on the line. Then he says, Matchick got the count to 3-2, and Drabowski appeared to get him to fly out to end the game. Frank Robinson stood at the fence waiting for the ball to plop in his glove, but there was a slight breeze, and the ball carried a little farther than expected. As it descended, it caught a piece of the second deck overhang and momentarily shocked everybody. It was a game-winning two-run homer, and the crowd, having thought the game was over, suddenly went berserk. In the clubhouse, McCullers said to Matchick, if you weren't so ugly, I would kiss you. In other words, it was the most exciting home run in baseball history that never quite reached the stands. But it's a proud moment and a memorable moment for 1968. So let's welcome that third of the three shortstops, or one of the three, Tommy Matchick.
Fuck you, McLain. It's so funny. Denny calls me about a month ago, says, you want to come to this thing? Yeah. So I'm on business in West Virginia, and yesterday I get a text from him. Are you ready for tonight? So I had to fly back from West Virginia, get home, and come up here for this. Never follow any of Denny's instructions. What I'd like to do now is, can everybody just stand up for 1 second, just stretch? Sure. And would you please give it a pause for one of the best pitchers ever in Tiger history? Yeah, Mickey, yeah, I got you on the phone. I got you that applause you wanted. Lolan says thank you. You know, I don't know how you can roast somebody that's been toasted already. Hey, Dad, you hear from Gates at all? Our great thing, Gates Brown?
No, he's still dead.
Oh. Well, I remember that Gates was telling me that you guys had a little thing going that whoever one went first, that to let the other one know if there was baseball in heaven. And it was funny, the other night, I know you didn't hear from him, but the other night in my dreams there was a voice, Matchick, this is Gator. I says, Gator, you playing baseball up there? He says, yeah. He says, are you going to McLain's roast? I said, well, yeah, I'm going to McLain's roast. He said, well, tell Denny, we got baseball up here in heaven, but I got some good news and bad news for him. The good news is we got baseball up here. Sorry, Denny. Bad news is you're pitching next Friday. But other than that, I want to say one thing seriously. This man right here, without him winning those games that year for us, we never would be in the World Series. Even though Lolich won 3 games in the World Series, without Denny, we never would have been there. And this guy here was a gamer, not like pitchers today. They got a hangnail, they don't want to pitch. Denny would be taped up in 3. A lot of people don't know, after he won his 24th or 25th game, he was getting cortisone shots in his arm. And that showed me a lot of balls to be going out there. Give me the ball. I want the ball. I'll win for us. And he was a winner. No matter what happened to him in life along the line, one thing that all the ball players on our club knew, that when Denny McLain took them out, we got a chance to win, period. Thank you.
You know, you mentioned Gator. I'd like to tell a little story. I was a first-year reporter in 1975. It was the first time I got to go to spring training. I was working for a little FM radio station, WABX. And it turned out it was the Gators last year in 1975. There were still some 68 Tigers left. Lolich was still on the team. Stanley was on the team. Horton was on the team. And there was the Gator. And Gator was a little portly and never ran much. He was a pinch hitter, and he couldn't field, he couldn't run, but he could hit. So I'm down there as a rookie, and I'm watching all the players out there, and for as far as you can see, they're running here and running there, and Gator would stand by the batting cage leaning on his bat and never move. So a week goes by, and I'm thinking, this guy is not working out. He's not doing anything. Everybody's running around like crazy. So I get the nerve, and I go up to him, and I go, Gator, you got a couple of minutes for an interview? He kind of looks at me suspiciously, like, who am I? So I said, long hair hippie guy from an FM radio station. I go, yeah. I tell him who I am. He goes, yeah, what do you need? So I finally work around it because it's been a week and he hasn't done anything. And I go, can you tell me what your philosophy is about spring training, Gates? He looks at me suspicious. He says, I'll tell you what my philosophy is. He says, I like to start slow and then taper off. And that was him. He was just a great guy, wonderful guy. Another lefty from that team was a 21-year-old from Columbus, and despite having played just a couple of seasons in A-ball as a starter, he made the team. What? Oh, I see that. That's okay. It's okay. All right. I'm going to stretch. It's okay. I'm going to stretch for a little bit. He's on his way out. From Columbus, first-year guy, makes the team as a rookie. Led all hurlers in spring training with strikeouts. He pitched 28 games in 68. 4-1 record, 11 saves, 3.6 ERA. In his first 2 weeks of the season, John Warden became the only relief pitcher ever to win games in his first 3 appearances, a record that stands to this day. He's the only Tiger who didn't play in the World Series, but he did have 3 very impressive bullpen sessions before they ever called him into the game, which he never made in. He made the minimum salary in 68, which was $10,000, and got $11,000 as his World Series share. He was taken in the expansion draft by the Royals, tore his rotator cuff during spring training in 69, never pitched again. Now he makes a living with extremely off-the-cuff comedy, so get ready. He's coming out, he's doing a costume change, which we can only imagine what it might be. But at some point soon, we're going to get the great one and only John Warden. Does that mean he's making his intro? All right, come on, Wardo. Here he is. Here he comes. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for John Warden.
How many of these do you have? Do you have to leave them there, or can you bring them home? Well, no, you're off with it. They're a good thing you're in politics. Holy cow. Did you win at this last election? What? Did you win the last, let me, 85. Did you win at the last election on Tuesday? Must be a horseshit district he's in. This is great being here, I'll tell you. I'm in the hallway there. I was inducted a few years back with Don Wirt. This is the, let's see, this is the Italian. Is this the Italian thing? Because I'm part Italian and part Indian. I'm a Wapaho. I'm going to put up a... hey, Ray, isn't that thing you're selling, that wheelchair? How about donating some money to Michigan so they can have a football team? The Ohio State Union. Hey, Fuzznuts, that's enough out of you. Best judge ever paid for right there. Went to the Ohio State University. If you want to see the national championship trophy, it's in Columbus. Oh, really? Yeah, you're fucking 1-13 against us in the last 14 years. So, right there, baby. Yeah. Where's my Michigan State fans? Go Ray! Yeah, right. Dr. Vassar over here is going to check your asshole right in a little bit. See if you can do a backhand flip. Yeah, he did well there at Michigan State. They didn't cover that up too much. Huh? Holy cow. You know how you get in Michigan State? You just have to spell MSU. It's tough to spell. Hey, Bob, you got to get a Purple Heart, man. You're Denny's attorney? Wow. Well, at least you're busy. Yeah, Denny and I were 35-7 that year. It'll sink in a minute. And thank you for laughing, yeah. I had 4. Denny had 31, but I only lost 1. He lost 6. Jeez. How'd he stay on the fucking team? Yeah, I'm telling you. Anyway, Denny's got another book coming out. He's got a movie. He's a little modest. They're going to shoot a Western here in Hamtramck. And they thought it'd be a good place for it. Denny got a bit part. He's finally reached his glory. He's going to play a piece of horse shit in a street scene. So his movie career is off and running. Also, ma'am, are you okay? Ma'am? Ma'am, Michelle, you all right? Okay, I thought maybe. You know, some of that food we had, you know. You're shitting like a goose tonight, boy. Hope they got vents in my room. But, man, but Denny's living proof that the buffalo did have sex with the Indian. Matter of fact, Paciorek, he's up here in Hamtramck. He stopped out. I got a friend up here, Barney Kowalski, and he owned a farm. He knew Tommy was a great athlete, and he could do about anything. He said, Tommy, I got a prize bull that's cross-eyed. You know anything I can do to get his eyes uncrossed? Tommy, you know, yeah, man, hey, you got any rubber tubing? Yeah. Cut. You got one too? He said, get a piece of tubing, stick it in the cow's ass, all right? I'll go around front, so Tommy goes around front. He said, you blow on this tube in this cow's ass, and his eyes will pop right back. You go, oh, okay. So about 20 minutes. Tommy, anything? Nah, nothing. Let's trade places. Tommy said, all right. So Tommy rounds back. He takes the tube out of the cow's ass, turns it around, puts the other end in. He said, what the hell are you doing? He said, you don't think I'm going to put my mouth on that after you had yours on it, do you? Oh, Tommy, I'll tell you. That's a hell of a fucking hairpiece right there. How'd you get that? It almost looks real. Oh my God, you see that hair?
It's different.
Hey, St. Patty's Day is in April. Oh, shit. Woo! What happened? Okay. How long we known each other, Denny? 50 years?
About 4 minutes.
Well, see the program? See the name of the program? John Warden, J-O-H-N. Only known him 50 years. Denny, it's J-O-N, no H. You'll catch on next time. By the time you get fried somewhere else, you'll be right there. Matter of fact, the picture on the front looks like Newt Gingrich. That's why I thought the guy handed it to me, that's who it was. Oh, baby. Denny went shopping for his wife, get her some diamonds, jewelry store. He looks over at this set of diamond earrings, he's sort of bent down a little bit, and he goes,
One flying, he said, oh shit, uh-oh, I shouldn't have touched it. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
don't touch the mic. So then he sort of bent over and let one out, and he said, oh shit, he bent over to her dead. So he walked on down to the diamond necklace, and he looked at that, and he bent over and he asked the guy, come here, how much is the diamond necklace? He said, well, sir, if you farted on those earrings, you're going to shit your pants on this necklace. Hey, don't fall. You ain't falling asleep down there. Let's go. The hell, we listen to your shit. Let's go. Were you talking about kale? Yeah, you're the only one that got it. We didn't give anybody else kale, just you. So, good seeing you. He won't be around. Hey, Judge.
Yes.
What's with the play toy down there, man, huh?
This thing over here,
Hey.
to help you out, make you better.
Yeah, you're doing great at that.
Thank you.
Probably played your Peter all the time when you were a kid, too, you know? Didn't have any toys. Shit, you know, that thing will grow without you messing with it. Oh, boy. By the way, is there anybody in the room that you didn't introduce earlier? Holy shit. Why do you just have everybody stand up and then where you girls been? You too, huh? Did that chicken and stuff get to you? You know, the guy goes in there. Women go in this. We got a microphone in there. We've been listening to you. Oh, shit. That's a hell of a story about when you guys, how do you get your leg behind your head like that? Shit, that's amazing. Oh, I'd like to try that though, man. I'll tell you what. Oh, boy. But it's been a good time, and Denny's been a good friend. And you're right, Eli. He's down to me and Matchick. That's the best line of the night, baby. But we're getting there. We still show up. Denny takes care of us. I've got an empty can of paint that I keep for Sue and hanging on the Christmas tree every year. Hope that sucker will get filled up sometime. But you're coughing. That's tough. Your nose gets in the way, doesn't it? Love to have that full of quarters, wouldn't you? Oh my God, we could play the pinball machine all night, didn't we? Oh, a week. But we're glad you guys came out tonight to see Denny and help us entertain him. He's sort of down on himself. He just has nobody to talk to. But I'm lying, but you know, you're a good guy. But anyway, Denny said the toughest thing now to hit 74 is his balls hang in the water in the toilet. Any you guys have that happen? Anybody? No? You know, half of you are lying your ass off. You're just in there, shit, if I tell him this, it'll be all over. And I don't want the Polish judge and 2 priests and we got everybody here. Domino's, Little Caesars, how they do that? Something like that. But anyway, on the way out, we like to take up a collection for Tom Matchick. Yeah. So we can get that bomb picked up off of. You were pretty good until the 3rd joke. No, you were great. Don't take it so hard on yourself. Those bullets will come back in style. Keep it on. Wow. Hey, thanks a lot, Hamtramck. You guys were awesome. Have a good time in the parade. Yeah, get a picture, baby. 127. You're up. Great job, man.
You know, I never really thought that you could get that much mileage out of fart humor with an average age in the audience of about 73, but you know,
Farts are awesome, man.
I know, you're amazing.
Farts are great.
And I'd like to thank you for toning it down, because all the jokes about anal sex at the golf outing wouldn't have worked here tonight. So thank you for cleaning it up for us a little bit. Anyway, I wanted to remind you before I bring the star of the show up here tonight. Please, the silent auction will end after Denny is done talking. We're going to do the raffle after that, also in the 50-50. So, my old partner, maybe be partners again. He's only been saying since he got out of the Slammer 10 years ago, let's do a show again. Maybe we will. We had so much fun together in the old days. And it's great to see that he's still in circulation, that he's going to be the Grand Marshal of this parade, and that you do remember 50 years ago what an incredible season it was. What a thrill it was to be in Detroit at the time, and the fact that it's great to see that they're being honored this year, and the Tigers are going to recognize this team that really turned this town around after the riots in '67, and what a great story it's been. So, let's bring him up. My good friend and yours, Denny McLain. Remember the last time I had so much fun. I need a chair. I need to sit. I'm not going to pick you up and put you in the chair and stick it up my ass.
What was that again, Denny?
Pull it up a little bit. Forklift! I'm going to forklift you in about 2 minutes. Listen, years ago, Mr. Antonetti, who was the president, general manager of the TV station over there where we worked. You know, I got to tell you something. He said, just make him feel like he belongs and what have you. Eli, that is. And I said, what the hell do you mean? He said, well, you know, nobody likes him around here. He's an asshole, and all he does is chirp and chirp and chirp. So I want to let you know something. Remember when I said years ago that you were really cool and smart? Yeah. And how great you were? I love that. That was great, yeah. I fucking lied. God almighty, Lord. I didn't think I could sit through this for, how many days have we been here now? 2, 3? And I'm not, believe me, and I was prepared with both guns to come out here and just shoot every one of these bastards. John?
What did I do?
Oh, you're in deep trouble with me, buddy.
I told you.
Well, let me just ask you a couple of questions before I go on. Anybody here from the Secret Service? The Marshal Service? Sheriffs? You're from the Sheriff's Department?
Yeah.
What do you do?
I don't know.
You carry a gun?
No.
No, okay, well, you're all right. FBI. Are you really FBI? No, you're not. They would hire you? Did anybody in here vote for Donald Trump? There's the guy. There's one guy, 2 guys. Now we know, right? Mayor, it's always good to see you. I understand you're writing a new book. The Art of Humiliation. By the way, I got a prize. I got something for you. I wanted to pick it up on the way down here. I've left it in my car, but it's a machine that when you walk into a room and you're with a bunch of people, it turns off all the recording devices. It's really good. And speaking of judges, which we may not have any in here tonight, except a young lady in the back, you ever had lunch with this judge? This judge, honest to God, has got fish hooks in his pocket. You know what that means? It means he never reaches for a check. Because once he gets his hands in the pocket, he can't get it out with the money. And this is what he does every lunch. This thing, we've been having a weekly meeting now for 3 months, right?
At least that.
At least it feels like 3 years.
Yeah.
And I will tell you one thing, I'll give you one compliment, because there's not much room to give you anything else. When this started 3 or 4 months ago, we were having a meeting every Wednesday at 12:30 at two different restaurants.
Yeah.
And it was great. He was on time with everything. He was looking for reports all the time and everything else. I mean, anything that you could do to put this thing together, he did. And you know what I did? I forgot what I was going to say.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised at all. But he just... I can't remember what the hell I was going to say. Anyway. Hit the buttons.
Denny. I'm trying to...
Hit the buttons.
Yeah.
But, God damn it, I can't remember what I was going to say.
You're worse than I am, Denny.
I'll tell you what, I just... I think it's a fart. I think it's a brain fart.
Yeah. Good fart.
Yeah, it really was. Anyway, make a long story short.
Go on, just go on.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, move on to the next question.
And Matchick and Warden, you're right. What in the fuck am I doing with a .215 hitter? And a guy that won 4 games in his entire career.
Got us World Series, didn't it?
I'm not sure if you had anything to do with it.
Well, I had 3 wins before you had any. So I got the team rolling and turned it over to you and Mickey.
And you, how dare you?
Yes, sir.
How dare you come up here and rip your best friend in the world? I will get even with you, I promise you. Let me digress here for a second.
Thought you already did.
These guys have done a hell of a job for you tonight. They've just done a terrific job. The 3 or 4 months that we spent working out this thing, I think it's really come off very well. I hope everybody's enjoyed the evening. It's been a great time. And I can't tell you how how I feel about this city and the people who live in it and the people who work here, the judge and all of his other people have just been great people. They've treated everybody well. It's always been first class. They haven't spared any time or money or anything. They've just done a great job here. You should be very proud of them, no matter how you feel about the mayor. It makes no difference. Did you really run again?
You still awake?
Is he awake? You did run again. Boy, I'll tell you. 80%? Did he win with 80% again? 85%? But it's unbelievable. Anyway, listen, I'm going to get the hell out of here. I want to thank everybody for coming. It's been a great success here. You can see there aren't very many chairs left, and I think some of those people left a little early because this thing, no one thought it was going to end before midnight. And I want to thank all of you guys for being here, every one of you. You've done a great job. Thank you very much. Mayor, please don't be offended by me. I want to get out of town without a ticket for a change. All right? You guys take care of yourself. God bless you. We'll see you at the...
Well, he's a multifaceted character, which is kind of a euphemism for saying there's the good and the bad of Denny McLain. He has a kind streak, done a lot of wonderful charitable things for people, made a lot of mistakes in his life, and he's hurt a lot of people, and he's paid the price for that. So he's a very polarizing character. I'm really pleased to see that he's going to be the Grand Marshal of the Polish Day Parade. So there still is love for Denny McLain on the 50th anniversary of one of the greatest seasons ever in sports. 31 wins will never equal again. It's been since 1937 that anybody did that, and it will never happen again. So he's earned a little bit of a little place in history, and it's good to see that despite all that's happened in his life, he's still part of the community.
Thank you, Eli. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. With me are alumni of the 1968 Tigers, Tom Matchick and John Warden. Guys, that had to have been a great season in your careers. You're celebrating the 50th anniversary. What does it mean to kind of relive that year?
Well, I was a 21-year-old kid, farm boy out of Harrisburg, Ohio, and for me that was just phenomenal. It's everything I dreamed about is playing the big leagues, and to be on a team like the 68 Tigers, and of course the playoffs end, you win that league and you go to the series, and to be in the World Series the following year after St. Louis, actually St. Louis won the World Series in '67. Boston beat us by 1 game. But Tommy always tell everybody if they'd have brought us up in September, we'd have gone both years. Yeah. But that was a big deal. It's a big deal to me. Tommy, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. If they brought us up earlier in '67, we would have won it in '67 too. But that team was unbelievable. Even when we were down 3-1 in the World Series, if you walked in our clubhouse, you would have thought we were up 3-1. I'd never seen such a lucid club in our club. And it's something that not many people get a chance to be. It's in the World Series.
And I understand you guys policed yourselves quite a bit, that year. I heard Willie Horton talk about, he says, sometimes they kick management out. You guys kind of talked amongst yourselves, and you guys kept each other focused.
Yeah, it was a close-knit team. I mean, when we went out after the games on the road, there'd be 8 or 10 of us go out to eat together and talk baseball and have a few cold ones, and just a close-knit club, and that worked out well for, like Matty said, being down 3-1. We won 40 ball games that year. After the 7th inning, we were either tied or behind. And that's because Mayo Smith would pass out by then, and then we'd run the club. So.
Mayo would be over in his corner sleeping.
Really? He'd be sleeping.